When we talk about in the previous video, the one just before this, controlling the baseball, getting the grip, and focusing on a target. But now let's add the how to that. So how are we going to do that? What are some of the throwing mechanics? And for you guys out there, no, look, we're only 9 and 10. Mechanics are just basically the form that we use, the technique that we use when throwing a baseball. And if we can have proper mechanics, or at least repeat our own mechanics over and over and over, the better chance that we're going to be more successful in hitting our target, okay, or hitting a target consistently. Now, each one of you are going to throw slightly different, but along the way, there's going to be certain keys and things that are going to be very similar. So let's start at the beginning. We talked about our throwing progression, or at least Coach Gordo introduced that throwing progression when we first started. And we went backwards with it. We went with the finish first, right, where we were finishing out in front, just using the end result from the side. We were making sure we got out and extended, okay? We weren't just flipping the ball. We started back to front. Now, I want to talk about the front to back. The most important thing when we throw, no matter what your position, even if it's pitcher, third base, shortstop, catcher, outfield, what's going to get us in position to throw are going to be our legs and our feet. Remember, our legs and our feet, that's where throwing starts. So if I catch a baseball, I can't just make a throw with my arm. I have to set myself up, put myself into position with my legs and my feet. So proper footwork is going to be key. But let's just assume, for the start of things, that we have the proper footwork and we've gotten into a throwing position. What we want to do is be square to our target. So what I mean by that is I want to be facing my target. You are my target right now. I want to be square too. You can see my feet are going directly at you. I'm not going to be too far closed and I'm not going to be too far open. For the most part, I want to be pointing right at you. Shoulders are pointing at you, hips are pointing at you, my feet. Okay, the lining up of my feet are pointing at you. What we're going to be doing has a lot of similarities to how we hit. So let's think about this. There's going to be another video of when we hit and those proper mechanics, those key points. But we talk about the first thing, not just our stance. Let's just say our stance when we're throwing is our arms are together, hands together. From here, we want to load up, right? Loading up the throw is very similar to loading up how we hit. How do we do that when we hit? Well, we take a step forward and our hands go back. Same thing here, except instead of both hands going back, our hands are going to separate. So we're going to take a step forward and our hands are going to separate. Very similar, okay? Now notice when we talk about separating, we're separating and my front arm is going to help guide the way. Coach Gordo talked about that of keeping our shield up, right? Here, and we're keeping it, we're not going to move it around and go in different directions. This is going to be something that is going to really direct where our throws go. So from the front, when I separate, okay, I'm going towards my target. I'm not trying to pull it out here, I'm not trying to go too high, definitely don't want to keep it too low. I'm balancing out. So if I'm saying something goes forward, something's going back. Now another way to think about this, okay, is balance. Something goes forward, something goes back. Ultimately, I want to load up into a balanced position, same as when we hit. So when I take my step, I may pick my leg up here, but when it lands, I'm pretty balanced here. I'm not so far back, and I'm definitely not so far forward. I'm somewhere here in the middle, okay? I'm loading up, I'm thinking of really driving off of this leg, but for the most part, I'm still balanced in between my legs, okay? And I haven't even gotten to my arm yet. So, again, we're loading up. If you take a big leg kick, or if you take something small, we're separating, and from here, I want to think about driving off of my back leg. What do I mean by drive? If I were to pick my leg up, and I'm going to say, jump as far as I can that way. I want to jump as far as I can that way off of this leg. I'm going to pick my leg up, and I'm going to drive off of it. I'm jumping almost. I want you to think about doing that with this leg. So I'm now driving off of that leg towards my target. You can do that when you feel the ground ball. I'm driving that way. Okay, I'm using my momentum, using this leg, using the power from the ground up. I said it's going to start with our legs and our feet. I say this when we hit one of the biggest and strongest muscles in our body. If somebody says our biceps, you're full of it because you can do a lot more strength-wise with your legs than you can with your arms. So use your legs, these power muscles that they are, use them to be the driving force throughout the throw. So we load up, separate. I'm going to be driving same way I would when I hit. If I want to use my core and I want to turn towards my target, which is the baseball, now I'm driving and I'm turning towards my target, the guy with the glove on the other end. I'm turning towards him, loading up, separate. Now I'm turning towards him, and as I'm doing that, okay, my arm starts to, I haven't even really thought about throwing the baseball yet. I'm just driving, and now my arm's gonna come through, and the rest of my body's gonna follow. Now I'm trying to keep this quick and simple for you guys without going too crazy. Hopefully we'll have some pitching videos and stuff as we go that'll talk a little more detail about some throwing mechanics, but generally, when we're making throws from the field, we're going to be setting ourselves up, positioning our feet, loading up, either it's a big step or a little step, okay, separating with our hands when we load, and from here I'm thinking of driving and turning my core and my torso towards my target as my arm comes over top and then comes down and through. Get out and then down and through. Instead of finishing short, I'll show you from the side. Short and coming across, I was guilty of this a lot. My wife will tell you, she watched me throw a lot. I was guilty of this when I threw. Sometimes I would short arm if I had to make a quick throw, but I want you to think, let go of the ball, and we're going through the baseball towards our target, and then we can follow through. So, if this makes sense, guys, we want to think, use our legs and our feet to get us into position number one. We're not just going to pick the ball up and throw it. If you make a catch, use your feet, shuffle them if you have to, move them around, get yourself in position to go towards your target. Number two, when we do that, we're taking a step and we're loading up. So load up into a balanced position, arms are separated, okay? I want to say elbows a little up. We're not way down here, we're not all the way up here or way down here. We're going towards our target, and from here, we are driving off of our lower body, turning towards our target, following all the way through the baseball. In the same way we want to hit all the way through the baseball, we want to throw all the way through the baseball towards our target. I can't emphasize that enough, towards your target, because ultimately, that's where we want the ball to end up. And in the video we just talked about, picturing a big target and narrowing that down because we want to hit a glove, we want to make sure all of our energy, everything, is going through to that target. I hope this made some sense. Any questions, again, comments, things that didn't quite get there, just let me know. Okay, I like to clarify. But practice some of those things, get familiar with throwing your body, your mechanics, and try to repeat that over and over and over. And if it's not working, ask me. Take a video of yourself, shoot it my way, say, hey, what can I do a little differently to help my accuracy? I'm all over the place. We can help tweak that. All right, thanks for listening, guys.